Shalom. First off, I want to give all honors, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone GMS, who taught us his word, wisdom, truth, and knowledge. Shalom to the elect of Israel, beginning with the 144,000, and to all Akim lifting up the names of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai and teaching his doctrine to edify the ministry. I pray that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai bestows mercy upon you as we enter into the last days of this kingdom. This is the brother Halarium from the Great Millstone Chicago camp, and this lesson is going to be a response to the Elder Tazawam out of the GMS branch of Wisconsin, and a lesson that he made going into the subject of, holding posts and, being circumspect, especially when you're not the speaker or the reader. Going into how if you're not the reader or the elder that's speaking, you have to pay attention to what's going on, especially when people are walking past the camp. Because we're coming into the times where many people, and people have tried before, but we're coming into the last days, man, where people are going to try to physically harm, or kill the prophets. In this lesson, the elder brought up being circumspect, and holding post. He also brought up the situation where the brother in LA and Los Angeles, had gotten, stabbed and attacked by an unknown assailant who we perceive, through the spirit to be an agent who was sent to take his life. So it's a very important thing while camp is going on, to pay attention to what's going on around us, man. Especially in these camps that's in these major cities, like here in Chicago and, Detroit and so forth, man. These niggas out here walking around like wolves, man. So I want to start this off, of course, with the book of Ephesians, chapter 5. And I'll start at verse 15, and it says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." So we know that we're living in these evil days, man. And because of that, really in general, but now so more than ever, we have to be circumspect and hold posts. And this lesson that the elder made was mainly, targeted towards us younger brothers, man. Because, we were brought up in this folly. Some certain brothers will be on their phone during camp on TikTok and other social media platforms, when really we're supposed to be paying attention to what's going on around us. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, because you never know what can happen. We don't know when the Lord is going to send a demon to attack us, man. And in the comments, the Apostle Gabar, for daily edification, he gave us the scripture, 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, what? Be sober, Salaki, and be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So what? It says what? Be sober, be vigilant, man. Because our adversaries are lurking around us, man. And I want to look up that word vigilant. Just for more context on what we're really going into right now. Salakia. But the word vigilant, the modern definition, it says, keeping careful watch for a possible danger or difficulties. It says to be watchful, to be on the lookout, observant, sharp-eyed, one with one's eyes open, attentive, alert, on the alert, on one's toes, wide awake. So we have to be watchful, man. We have to always be watching our surroundings, having our head on the pivot, for possible demons, that could be lurking amongst us, looking to, disrupt the peace, so to speak, man. And also, the time is going to come where some of us might have to lay down our lives, for this truth and for this ministry. And we have to be willing to lay down our lives for our brethren, man. That brings me to the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 16. And it says, hereby perceive we the love of the Most High, because he laid down his life for us. And we ought to lay down our lives for our brethren. And we have to be watchful for our brothers out here, man, while holding posts. And we have to be willing to even lay down our lives for this ministry if it comes to it, man. Knowing the sacrifice that Yahweh Shai made for us when we were sinners, man. Because pursuant to the book of Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11, hey, we all departed, from our spiritual husband, so to speak. We departed from the bridegroom, man, which was the Lord. That's why the Lord likened Israel unto a comely and delicate woman. So now that we have the opportunity to be a part of this ministry, hey, we have to take full advantage of that, man. And it's more than just, reading and studying. We also have to be watchful and attentive over the flock and over our fellow brethren that are laboring with us, man. Let's go to the book of John chapter 15 and verse 13. And it says, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you, man. So this was a commandment from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. To watch over our brethren, man, and to potentially lay down our lives for them if need be. And that's one of the subjects that the elder goes into in this lesson, man. And it all plays a part in, trying our best to please Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Because this is more than just, these other camps, they don't exhibit these qualities, man. This is more about it than just, cussing out Esau, Edom. This is more than just cussing out, the Judite woman. We have to hold post, man. We have to be circumspect on what's going on around us, because we don't know, when the demon is going to walk up, man. Let's go to the book of let's see. There's the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 2. And it says, two are better than one, because they have a great reward for their labor, man. Hey, the scriptures say what? When 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them, man. Verse 10, this next verse is the point. It says, for if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another one to help him up, man. So, hey, when we're around each other, hey, when brothers make mistakes, we help each other, man. But also when demons walk up, hey, a certain brother may not be able to handle, a certain demon. A nigga may walk up all confrontational, and a brother may be, soft-spoken. But, hey, you got brothers that are soft-spoken, and you have brothers that carry that rough, aggressive energy, man. Not just being confrontational off the bat, because the scriptures say, if it be possible, live peaceably amongst all men. But knowing that if a demon walks up and it gets to a point where you got to get physical, hey, that brother can regulate that demon. And there have been times in our camp where stuff like that has had to happen. Salaki, because people want us to walk up on wickedness, man, and try to harm the men of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Verse 11, it says again, if 2 lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? So, hey, 2 is better than 1, man. This is why we have this ministry. If it was just, one brother out there preaching, they may not be equipped on how to handle, outside interference, man. But knowing that we have this ministry, we have to be circumspect and keep guard over one another. Because these demons, they seek to sift us out of the truth, man. So just a quick response, to the Eldai Tazawam on holding posts, being circumspect and, watching over the brothers and the men of the Lord that are trying to labor, like we are, man. So with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakudas. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone GMS, Ruel Shalawam, Kwam Yasharala, and Abad Babal.